Hello, everyone, and welcome to your cosmic update focusing on Mercury retrograde and the benefits of Mercury retrograde, how to work with this energy in its highest expression, because so often we hear about the downfalls of Mercury retrograde or we go into the space of fear. And I always fully believe that the universe is backing us up. It is always working to support us in our highest and best good. And when we look at astrology, it's simply knowing how do I work with this cosmic energy so I learn the lessons, I'm initiated into the lessons that I meant to learn at this time. And I come out feeling stronger and having more wisdom because of it. So if you are new to me, say hi below. If you have followed me for a while, say hi below. And if you're on the replay, same holds true. Say hi. I always love checking back in, answering your questions. And yeah, so definitely say hi. It is so great to have you here. So if you are new to me, my name is Kara, and I'm passionate about helping you co-create magic with the universe by working with cosmic energy. And in addition to being a master astrologer, I also work within the realm of the Akashic Records, and both come together beautifully in understanding how to manifest by working and co-creating with cosmic energy, because we are all one. And what happens in the cosmos with the planets is not just something happening outside of us. It is happening internally as well, and it provides powerful insight into where we are being called to grow and expand in our life. All right, let me say hi to some of the people jumping in here. Anna, Carol, how are you, beautiful? Catherine is looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to this as well. Lori, Karen, hello, beautiful. Lindsay is here. So, I'm so glad you're here live, Karen, as well. So let's dive in and look at some of the positives, the many positives that are coming out of this Mercury retrograde. So Mercury is the planet of communication. It governs our mindset. It governs the way we see things. And in your birth chart, so in your natal chart, we all have Mercury in a unique placement. And it's not just the sign that it's in, it's the house placement, it's the aspects that it's making. And when I look at a chart and I see your Mercury placement, I get insight into your way of communicating, your way of receiving information. And just like very in general terms, because with astrology, and this is one of the things I love about it, is it is very specific. It captures, like specifically in our birth chart, our soul blueprint. And as humans, we are complex, and astrology really captures that. It captures the different elements of who we are, our different personality traits. So if you have Mercury in a water placement, you're going to be more intuitive in receiving information. You're going to feel things. You're going to be more emotional in your decision-making process and really like value the power of emotions. If you have Mercury in an air sign, you're going to be more analytical. You're going to be more in the space of the mind. In an earth sign, it's going to be more grounded. It's going to be more practical. And in fire sign, it's also very feeling based, but it's very passionate. And this Mercury retrograde is happening in the sign of Scorpio. And this is a water sign, a fixed water sign. So right away, we know that we are delving into our emotions. We are being called to change the way we process information, we make decisions, and to really bring our intuition into the equation, to not leave our intuition out and to really pay attention to the power of our emotions, to our feelings. So that's a big, big part of this retrograde. And looking at the Scorpio energy as well, Scorpio is extremely intense, and it invites us to delve beyond the surface, to go a little bit deeper than what we see on the surface. And that is one of the biggest blessings of this retrograde, is you may find a lot of past fears are being triggered. So on the surface, that doesn't look like a blessing, right? It may look like, oh, these old fears that I thought I had released and I thought I had let go of a long time ago are coming up again. But you have the power, as these old fears are coming to the surface, to really take a look at doing deeper levels of healing, but also not getting caught up in old stories again. And that's what we're really being encouraged to do with this Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. We are seeing things through new eyes. We have a new perspective on some of those old patterns or fears that may have just been like stuck in our energy field for a long time. We now have the ability to see it in a new way. And as it comes up, we can really look at it and ask ourselves, do I want this energetic pattern to be repeated in my life? Or how can I fully release this and now see things in a new way? And we have the ability to do some really deep level healing with the Scorpio energy. And I always think of this quote by Carl Jung, where he had said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it'll direct your life and you'll call it fate. So if we're not aware of some of that subconscious programming that's going on, there's not very much we can do about it. But as soon as we have those thoughts, those beliefs, those fears that have been under the surface coming to the light, we then have the option to heal, to look at it, and most importantly, to say, I'm not going to get caught up in these old stories. I'm going to choose again. Thank you so much for all the hearts, for the shares. If you know somebody that loves astrology and that could benefit from this, feel free to share it out. And yes, let me know if this is resonating with you so far. If you felt like some old fears or things from the past have really surfaced again for you. It's not uncommon when and this really is very specific to this Mercury retrograde because it's happening in Scorpio, and Scorpio is all about secrets. It's about things that are under the surface. It's about our subconscious. So we really have the ability to pave a new way forward. And Mercury is going to station direct on November the 20th. So if you want to keep track of the retrograde, the 31st to the 20th, but then there's shadow phases on each side as well. But basically, when it goes direct on the 20th, Mars is also going to move into Scorpio that day, and we have the ability at that time to move forward with a whole new mindset. Like a whole new energy and how we're seeing things and approaching the world if we're willing to learn the lessons from this retrograde. And it really does require some internal reflection and connection and not being afraid to look at some of the patterns and fears that may be surfacing. Sometimes when we're looking at the law of attraction and we become very aware of the energy we're sending out into the world, we become very aware of our frequency, we can be afraid to explore those fears. But what Mercury and Scorpio, especially retrograding in Scorpio, really invites us to do is have the courage to look at them so we can shift it. Because if there is a pattern or energy of fear that has been going on in your vibration or your mindset, if that's happening under the surface, it's still affecting your point of attraction. So what this can do is bring it up so you can clear that, you can look at it, and you can pave that new way forward. So let me check in here. Kenzel, how are you? Beautiful. You have your Mars in Scorpio. Awesome. Anna, I have Mercury in a water sign. Feels spot on. Very passionate, intense too. Yeah, beautiful. Yes. And if you know where Scorpio specifically is in your birth chart, like what house it rules over, you'll have a deeper idea of some of the subconscious themes that may be emerging for you. If that's going to be more around spirituality, maybe some of your core fears, it could also be around your value system. And I want to look at that as well, actually, because our value system, and this is another blessing of the Mercury retrograde, is it's inviting us to really question a lot of the things we give our attention to. So when Mercury stationed direct on October the 31st, it was right next to Venus. And Venus is the goddess of love, of beauty, of prosperity, and it governs over your relationships, what you love in the world, your finances, your values, those core value systems. So it really suggests that those are going to be themes that are in play during this retrograde. Definitely relationships, really looking at deeper connections with the people in your life who really matter to you. And that may sound like a funny thing to say, but with Venus in the sign of Scorpio right now, and we're retrograded we're Mercury retrograded right next to Venus, we're really taking a look at who are the people that I want to allow into my life? Who are the people I really want to deepen my connection with and get to know better? And during this time, we can really have that deeper level of connection happening. And what you may also find as well is past relationships coming in where there was deeper levels of healing that need to happen. And sometimes this it doesn't necessarily mean that person comes back into your life, but it could even be that a memory of them comes up for you. And it's that invitation to practice forgiveness and just release yourself, or like cut those energetic cords or ties that may have been in place in your relationship that were like an unhealthy dynamic or keeping you from fully moving forward. Could also be sibling connections that come in around this time, but in some way, there's going to be that relationship theme and that opportunity for a deeper level of connection or deeper layers of healing. That's a big thing with this Mercury retrograde, a theme, like as I study the charts, that come up time and time again, that we can do some powerful healing. And I do feel it's important to say this around this idea of healing. This actually came up in a client call today. And as part of our session, I was looking at her birth chart, and we were talking about the healing aspect and how that was unfolding for her in her life, and trusting that healing does not always have to be, or maybe not at any time, but I know healing can be a complex thing, but it doesn't always need to be like this very scary, difficult, or even long process. Healing can occur in a moment where we notice an old thought or mindset or fear coming up, and we have that conscious awareness of it, and we choose that I'm not going to get pulled back into that old pattern. I know this is coming from a space of fear, and in this moment I'm going to choose love. I'm going to choose to align to my soul's truth. Like, healing can occur in that moment where we choose not to get wrapped into those old stories again. So keep that in mind too, because sometimes we hear healing and we're like, oh, I've done so much work. I've done so much work around the healing, and it does not need to be like that long, difficult process. It can really happen in a moment. And that really is the energy I'm feeling around the Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. Is there is a lot of deep level healing, but that it doesn't need to be this long drawn out process. Like, we have this awareness coming in, and we're able to shift things really quickly and really able to move forward. Krista, hello, soul sister. Great to have you. Say hi if you are just jumping in now. And if you would like to book a private reading, if you're hearing this and you're like, what's going on in my chart? How is Mercury retrograde affecting me? How are the cosmic themes for the rest of the year influencing my chart? Send me a message. We can book a private reading and take a look at your divine soul blueprint and how these themes are playing out for you. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at this chart here, and I made some notes. I have charts on the side. I've got so many devices on the go right now. It's so funny. I've got my desktop here. I have my MacBook. I even have my phone down here, just surrounded. All right, so this is the third retrograde of the season, where Mercury's retrograding through a water sign as well. So this really has been a year where we're learning to connect into the power of our emotion, and really like changing the way we process information and learning how to listen to our intuition. Like, of course, there is a place for analyzing things. There's a place for logic. And there's also the importance of where our heart is leading us, the importance of that gut instinct of, even when something doesn't like make sense on paper or it looks like a good decision, it's like that gut instinct that says, no, don't do it, or go this way instead. And the Mercury retrogrades throughout this year, this particular Mercury retrograde is actually closing off a cycle of the retrograde season, the last one of the year. So we're also like coming out of it with this newfound awareness of how to trust our intuition. And I feel for many people, there's been important lessons that came up throughout the year where you may have not listened to your intuition. You noticed where it was leading you, but instead you made another decision. I know this has happened to me a few times throughout this year. And it always came back around to, I had that gut instinct. I knew I should have listened. And it really, we're kind of finishing this cycle and finishing out the year of trusting the importance of our instincts and where our intuition is leading us. And that is such a powerful lesson when we can learn to trust that intuitive nudge. That is huge. And that's like a huge blessing that Mercury retrograde always gives us, but specifically this one in the sign of Scorpio, where we learn the power of our intuition and we kind of become detectives. Scorpio is like this detective energy of peering beyond the surface into the heart of things. And we really just have these deeper insights of knowing this is what I have to do, and just feeling like we fully have to trust that and say yes to it, even when it feels really scary. So something just to, I do have some special dates I want to go over, like throughout the Mercury retrograde as well, but something else to have into your awareness at this time is watch where you may be falling into a trap of all or nothing thinking, extreme thinking. Scorpio energy, if you know any Scorpios in your life, or if you have Scorpio energy in your chart, maybe you have a really packed 8th house, which rules over Scorpio. Maybe you're a Scorpio moon or rising or sun. They're intense. It's an intense, passionate energy that can sometimes be perfectionist and think in all or nothing terms. So with Mercury retrograding, we may see some of those old themes pop up. That part of us that has extreme thinking of, you know, this isn't working in my life, so it must mean I'm a failure and I'm going to give up. So we got to be aware of where some of those like all or nothing mindsets are coming in. I actually did an Instagram story on this the other day talking about progress over perfection and how it's not a matter of did we succeed or fail at reaching our goals. It's about the journey. It's about who we become along the way, how we are growing, how we are expanding, our new mindset, our new energies, and really focusing on that, because it's never as simple as this is a success or a failure. So we want to look where we're falling into those traps, whether it's in our business, all or nothing thinking, right? I have to meet this money goal or I'm a failure. Could be in our relationships, it has to look this way or else it's not working. And find that middle ground. So do be aware of some of the decisions that may be coming in for you at this time, or decisions that you're processing. And not that, you know, some people say don't make major decisions during Mercury retrograde. And the reason for that is it is more of a time of reflection and reevaluating. And we may find that some of the decisions we make during Mercury retrograde, later on, Mercury is direct and we see things in a new way. And we're like, why did I make that decision? But I do think if your gut instinct or your intuition is like guiding you on an important decision in your life, to make it. And obviously there's certain decisions that we can't always put off. But basically what I was going to say around that is just notice in that decision process where you may feel, or you're putting yourself in a position where you feel it has to be one way or the other. It has to be all or nothing, because that's just an unhelpful mindset that we're able to see things differently at this time. We're really able to be patient with ourselves and find that middle ground and, you know, release that kind of mental trap. It's like a mental trap to see things in the extreme and find a healthier way of seeing things. So let me know if there's questions around this. Thank you for the hearts. Let me know if this is resonating with you. Say hi if you're just jumping in now. I always like to say hi back. And let's take a look here at some of the important dates. So someone had posted in my Facebook group the other day. If you're not in there, come join us. It's a free group, Spiritual Goddesses Healing the World Together. But they were asking about the significance of November 11th. So 1111 are angel numbers, which I love. And it actually is a very significant day in the cosmos as well. So on November 11th, we'll have Mercury and the Sun conjunct, which basically means they're meeting up together. And in astrology, the sun is like our personality, our identity. It illuminates whatever it touches. So with Mercury there, it's bringing clarity in, because Mercury is our mindset. It's our thoughts. So this November 11th can be a day of deep level clarity, where you just feel like some of the answers you've been putting out into the universe, some of the things you want deeper knowledge in, it just finally, like the puzzle pieces connect and you have that clarity of what's going to be best for you, what is in your highest and best good. It can also really illuminate different subconscious patterns or energies that maybe you weren't ready to see before, but you're now ready to see. And it's like a key that unlocks that next step for you. So very powerful energies that day. And I know a lot of people probably follow me, like light workers, empaths. We're sensitive to energy, already intuitively feeling into the energy around that day and just how powerful it can be, and probably really already feeling like the insights and knowledge that's coming through with the retrogrades and just this deeper level of healing that can happen so quickly, right? That, yeah, I just feel like that's such an important key to keep in mind as well, that like that healing can happen in the moment where we recognize an old pattern and we decide not to get pulled into an old story, whether that's like an old pattern of feeling anxious, and which can just be like an energetic pattern. We recognize it and we say, I can choose again. I don't have to go down that road. Like healing can occur in that moment. So that is one of the really powerful days. Let's see here. And yes. November 13th looks like that will be the day where Mercury will form a trine with Neptune. So this is still during the retrograde period. So Mercury will be retrograde, station retrograde on the 31st all the way through till the 20th. And then it is in the shadow phase till December 7th. But on the 13th, Mercury is going to form a beautiful trine, which is a positive aspect with Neptune. And throughout this year, Neptune has been such a key player. And it's been calling us to return to who we are on a spiritual level, to just like vibrate higher, to vibrate beyond the old fears and the doubts, and to connect who we are, like beyond our ego, beyond this physical body. And this aspect can amplify our intuition in beautiful ways, help us just remember like who we are, how powerful we are, how supported we are. Like Neptune is always just encouraging us to rise up in any challenge that we face in our life, in any difficult situation. It invites us to tune in to like, where's my heart leading me? What is my soul inviting me to learn from this experience, and just to really rise up. Been such a huge player throughout 2019 that for so many people has brought in like inspired ideas, deeper connection to their soul work, even a desire like in their business or career path to make changes so they feel more aligned to the work that you're here to do. So that's November 13th, and it's exact on that day. So like even, I mean, I guess it's a little early today to feel it, but in astrology, it doesn't always need to be the exact day. It's like the energy leading up to it will begin to experience that as well. Very powerful. Now, the only thing, like sometimes with that transit, it may bring in a sense of like haziness or fogginess. Like Neptune energy isn't necessarily always giving us like the clarity that we crave, but it's inviting us to surrender and to trust in the process. It's like it's feeding into this theme of teaching us different ways of relating to information, different ways of communicating in the world, and that it's not always just about the logical path or overanalyzing. Sometimes it's about trusting our intuition and having faith to surrender when we don't know all the details. Like it's a very beautiful aspect with Mercury and Neptune on the 13th that it teaches us like we can feel safe, we can feel held, we can feel supported even without knowing all the details of how we're going to get to our goal or how something in our life is going to unfold. We don't need the details to feel secure and safe. Sometimes our ego and our mind wants them and craves them, but the Neptune influence teaches us we don't need to have that. Okay, I'm just gonna see if there's questions coming in. Say hi if you are just jumping in now. Okay, so I've got a couple other things I want to go over, but I also want to share with you. This is really exciting. So I do have some readings open. If you want to book a reading to look at your chart, feel free to reach out. We'll look at your astrology for the rest of the year. But I also have a really amazing new program coming out. And it's going to be all about shifting from anxiety into a space of Zen. It's called From Anxiety to Zen Goddess. And it's working in the space of the Akashic Records to help you clear out old patterns of fear and anxiety so you can shift into more joy, more happiness. And a lot of people get this question too from other entrepreneurs, like, should I launch new programs during Mercury retrograde? Should I put new things out into the world? And usually we see it as like not a time to start something new, but more a time to revisit. But it's never extreme, it's never all or nothing. And I really wanted to put this program out during Mercury retrograde because we are energetically having the ability right now to have deeper insight into those subconscious programs that keep us in a space that separate us from our soul truth and who we really are. And you know, when we're in a space of anxiety or fear, like that negatively influences every aspect of our life. like how we're able to show up for our family, how we're able to show up in our business. So these journeys through the Akashic Records, I want to shift that for you on a deep cellular level and help you welcome in the energy of Zen, Goddess, and Peace. So I don't officially have that out yet, but I'm really excited. Like I feel a lot of powerful downloads and information coming out that I'm going to be able to offer through this program. So send me a message if you want to be on the waiting list for that. And when it comes out, I will give you all the details. It's going to be super powerful. Okay. So let me see any other like major dates here that we didn't touch on. Just gonna look at some of these charts. Yeah, so I feel like, so on the 12th, I believe it's the 12th, it looks like we have the full moon in Taurus. So the day before that, to really keep in mind, November 11th, is going to be that time of really like new insights, illumination, new ideas coming in. And then the next day we have the full moon. So those like couple of days could just be a time of deep level soul clarity and getting back to what you really value, what really matters most to you. And that can be the other way to work with the energy of this retrograde in its highest expression. Is you're gonna have clarity around what like actually matters to you, what you value on a soul level, and some of the things that you're saying yes to or you're committing to that actually don't fulfill your soul or that don't light you up. Like you're gonna have clarity on that and really have the ability at the end of this retrograde to have a new mindset and new energy around what you're choosing to commit to and how you're spending your time and just how powerful and intuitive you are when you go within. So really beautiful energies here. Okay. Please place me on the waiting list for your new program. Will do. It's going to be super powerful. So yes, just message if you want to be on the waiting list for that. It's going to be a game changer. And like as somebody, like I've had anxiety throughout my life and I noticed some of those old patterns surfacing lately, and I've been able to shift that in beautiful, powerful ways through this work in the Akashic Records. So I'm like, I have to share this because too many people, we get stuck in fear and anxiety and it just negatively holds us back. And it's time to like free ourselves from that, free ourselves to fully like enjoy life and celebrate and to enjoy when things are going well, right? Because when we have anxiety, sometimes things are going really well, but we're worried like, when's the other shoe gonna drop? When's something gonna go wrong? So it's also about anchoring the energy that it's safe to feel like joyful as well. So it's gonna be really good. Yes, message me about that. If you have any more questions about the retrograde, let me know. Even on the replay, I'll be circling back and checking in. And yeah, let me just see some main takeaways from all this. The blessings, the benefits. This is a time to really see the subconscious patterns in a different way and be able to heal old programs very quickly, release old fears very quickly so you can move forward. It's a time of deepening connections and bonds in your relationships, practicing forgiveness that can really set yourself free, and activating your intuitive gifts to a whole new level. So see, Mercury retrograde really isn't that bad. When we learn to work with the energies of it, there's actually some pretty big blessings and beautiful things that are going to come out of this. So thank you, everyone, for joining me today. Lorena, that sounds awesome. From anxiety to Zen. Yes. All right. Sending so much love and light to you all. Enjoy this time, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye for now.